Good afternoon. Welcome to Connections, and I'm your host, Pastor Kevin McGee of the Victory Temple Church of God in Christ. You're listening to us on IntellectualRadio.com. You can also listen to us on iHeartRadio. Connections is a show designed to keep you connected and work to those in the Christian community who are making impact. So get ready, because your connection is now established. And if you wish to become a Connections advertiser, please reach out to me at bishop1915@gmail.com or inbox me on Facebook. And if you wish to host your own show here on IntellectualRadio.com, inbox me and I can help to direct you. Nature Sunshine, have you kept your weight loss goals for 2022? It's almost 2023. Would you like a natural approach to weight loss? Do you want to see and feel changes immediately? Do you take medication for high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, fibromyalgia, cancer, arthritis, or any other condition in your body? Do you have poor circulation, frequent colds, flu, or chronic fatigue? Or perhaps you just want to maintain a healthy body? Give Nature Sunshine a try. They have many products and plans that will assist you in losing weight and maintaining and improving your health the natural way. You can reach out to them at 708-302-5655. The Bedrock Movement affirms safety, comfort, dignity, awareness, and empowerment for Chicagoland street homeless. For any internship needs for schools, community services mandated from the court, or you want to volunteer assisting the street homeless, please call John Netherly at 773-567-5110. Big Hen's Barbecue and Catering, where everything is a knockout. You can patronize them daily. They have daily lunch specials. They have Big Hen's hot links, rib tips, turkey tips, Big Hen's burger. They have mixed greens with smoked turkey, meat, and cornbread. Big Hen's signature mac and cheese, peach cobbler, banana pudding, chow beans, and creamy coleslaw. You can reach them at 708-264-1474. That's Henry and Robin Williams Denson. Reach out to them. They have a food truck on the corner of 167th and Dixie Highway in Markham, Illinois. That's Big Hen's Barbecue and Catering, where everything is a knockout. Mm-hmm. And listen, if you're in the market for a home, maybe you want to sell your home, maybe you're looking at investments, real estate investments, contact me with GRD Realty and I can help to assist you in all of your real estate transactions. Listen, it's not too late to get some transactions going for the year for 2022. Just contact me today and I can direct you. And today, oh my God, I must be somebody special, Earl. I got this woman in the studio. After 3 years, she is back here in IntellectualRadio.com. She is Intellectual Radio's own Annette Harris, the host of Mind, Body, and Soul. Get caught in the net with the... Well, I have Kamisha say I can't sing that.
Right.
With your mind, body, and soul. I got Annette Harris in the studio. Woo!
Or do like what's the one on Thursday nights? She said she screamed real loud. What's her name?
I know you're talking about
J Spot.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't do the J Spot. You know she. But I'm here. Thank you so much.
Listen, everybody. I had my people call her people, and then her people called another set of people, and then that set of people called another set of people, and then it said she might be able to show up.
And I don't know who those people are.
Shout out to those that's watching. Jory Reed, I see you. Christy Lucas, God bless you. Listen, for those of you that's watching by way of Facebook Live, listen, feel free to call in at 708-223-8953. We're here talking with Annette about her new book, Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. Amen. We want to pick her brains. We want to find out what's going on with her. Amen. Listen, I told you she's been on the air. She's just been remote for 3 years. Yes. She's still been on IntellectualRadio.com. But to have her in the studio, listen, she came in wiping stuff down. She came in wanting the Lysol, everything. All right.
Y'all know me. I'm bougie.
But anyway, thank you, Annette, for coming.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Listen.
Have I ever been on your show before?
Yes, you have.
I'm just kidding. No, but
have
seriously.
I been on yours?
I think so. But it is a blessing. No, did I get a check?
I don't know. I think I know you owe me at least about $5,000.
You think so?
I wrote it.
You think so? Okay. All right.
Or at least a chicken sandwich from Popeyes or something.
Right. Well, I don't think you need that. But anyway, I want to say, no, seriously. But thank you. Thank you for this opportunity because I I don't take it for granted. I really don't. You can have anybody on your show, and you have. So I am thankful that you invited me to come in.
Listen, I had to invite you to come in because what you have just launched is something very monumental. And because I know the backstory, I know that could not be something easy to do. But the fact that God gave you the strength to do it is going to change lives. It's going to change lives. And so, before we get to the book, before we get into all this, first tell us what's been up with Get Caught in a Net.
Ooh.
Are people still getting caught in the net? You still got A&D. What's going on?
It has been actually a very busy almost 3 years, since COVID. I have not been back in the studio. I miss my Earl and I miss my Wanda. I really do. But COVID dictated to us what we needed to do. So I just took extra precaution and have been airing virtually my shows on Wednesdays. And we are still going strong. We're still going strong. And I'm still excited. I always say I'm excited whenever I come on the air. I'm still excited, because God has blessed me to do what I'm doing. And I love hosting my own show. I love the podcast that we launched during COVID. I did put the podcast on hold just a little bit so I can promote my book, but it's still in existence. And A&D has been kind of like on hold a little bit just because of our schedules. Apostle and I, but we were just talking the other day, so we're going to get that back going. So you should see more from us in 2023. But yeah, it has been very busy, but excitingly busy.
Awesome. I I try to get a chance. I can't really watch you live anymore like I used to.
Yeah.
So I try to go back and check it out. I missed the last show you just had a couple of days ago
Uh-huh.
with the chef. Is that the one with the chef?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I like to see the food shows.
I know you do.
But I missed that one, so I got to go back and watch it. But I hate that the way that my schedule is now. I can't chime in, and then the way your schedule, because you're so busy, you don't always have a show every Wednesday, and so now it's like because I used to write the poetry for your show.
Yeah, you
and
backslid.
It's just so
You backslid.
Yeah, I backslid. Okay. But I enjoyed that,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that, except when it came Dr. Hill. I couldn't write anymore for Dr. Hill because I read out of stuff. Her stuff was so deep. I'm like, how do I keep writing?
I think you were scared to write for Dr. Hill.
No, I'm not scared.
You're not scared? Okay.
No.
All right, if you say so.
Dr. Hill, I'm not scared because I know you're coming on here at some point. But again, we just thank God for you and how Get Caught in a net, mind, body, and soul. All of that has evolved,
Yes.
and then to see where you are right now, to see where you are with this, this publication that you have launched. Listen, I'm proud of you because,
thank you.
again, because I know your story, I know the courage that it took to do this, and basically, the gist of it is it's a story surrounding how you survived the trauma of losing a sibling.
Mhm.
I lost a sibling.
Yes.
And so I can imagine, I can more than imagine. I know what it's like. But it was deeper for you because my brother, when he passed away, I had not seen him since I was 15 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because when I was 15, he was in the military.
Okay.
And so he was going back and forth. And so he missed my wedding. He, missed very monumental points. Although we communicated with each other, we heard from each other, but I had not physically laid eyes on him from the time I was 15 until I saw him in the casket at the funeral.
Oh my goodness.
But the memories of my brother, was still there.
Yeah.
And it was like, one of the greatest memories that I have of my brother is that we didn't grow up in the same household. So my father's son. So he at that time he was staying with my aunt.
Okay.
And I went there, so I stayed a couple of days there. And he gave me a Green Bay Packers helmet, his helmet, because he was a sports aficionado. He loves sports. And the fact that he gave me that helmet, he said, "This is yours. Take it home." And I kept that helmet until adulthood. I kept that. I had to have been like about 8 or 9 when he gave me that helmet, and
Oh.
I kept that helmet. And our final conversation that we ever had, we were talking about how we had to. It was right after Christmas. We were talking about how we had to get our families together because he lived in Colorado Springs. And so we said, okay, let's make a plan this year. We're going to bring our families together. And then a
Mm.
couple of months later, I got a call from my sister saying that he had passed. So that
Oh,
was devastating for me,
I'm
you know.
sure. I'm so
And
sure.
this we had, we didn't have that close bond like you and your brother did. So I know if even remembering it now,
Mm-hmm.
it still hurts. I can imagine what it was like penning this book. And so
Yes.
in your book, you talk about dealing with the reality of your brother's death and coping with it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us back to a time at the moment when you first got the news of your brother's death and how your life was changed from that point on?
Wow, that's a great question. When I first got the news or how it affected me, I was a basket case. I was. I didn't know what to think. Actually, you go through. Actually, I literally probably went through all the stages of grief all at once, but I didn't realize that that's what I was going through. I didn't, of course, understand grief and what it would, how you would go through it, until later on in life. But I went through. I was in denial. I was um, angry. Of course, depressed. Um, I also suffered from PTSD, and I was one of the main things that I experienced was paranoia. I was really paranoid because of the way that he died. And my young mind at the time, you talk about you were 15, that was the last time you saw your brother alive. I was 15 when this happened. And, so my mind is still impressionable and still being formed, really. You know, we may think getting grown or whatever, 15 years old. Oh my God, no. And so I really didn't know how to successfully process what it was that I was dealing with. And all I knew was that it hurt. It hurt me so, the fact that my brother, my only brother, I would never ever see his face again. I would never ever interact with him again. And it just hurt. So I suppressed a lot. I suppressed my feelings. I suppressed what was going on around me. Um, I will say this, and I don't even know if I mentioned this in the book, that I literally, the things that happened prior to my brother's demise, if you ask me about it, I don't really remember. So that let me know that I was suppressing things. And so there would be times like later on, as I became older, I'd be in conversations with my siblings or other family members. They say, "You remember when such and such?" And I'm like, "No, you don't. Mm-mm. You remember when such and such?" Uh-uh. And then it clicked. And I said, "Wait a minute. At what point was this that you were asking me about this situation?" Then I started putting the pieces together and realizing that those were the times before my brother died that I pushed out of mind. And then, of course, those were the things that, we were growing up together, we were in the house together. And so I think it was almost like I was protecting myself. So I suppressed those feelings. I suppressed those things before my brother died to protect myself because it just hurt so much that I couldn't have that with him any longer.
You know, and you were the youngest.
Yes.
So when you're the youngest sibling, your connection to your older sibling is different than their connection because you're looking at all those siblings, your big brother, your big sisters,
Yes.
and if the youngest sibling always has this air of admiration for their older
Oh,
siblings.
yes.
And so when you see it, one of those pieces missing,
Mhm.
you know, a part of you is gone because you're looking at the fact that I will never see that person again. I'll never have a conversation. I won't have an older brother anymore.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, I went from being the second oldest of my father's children to being the oldest.
Oh, wow. Pressure. No pressure.
And I told my sisters, I said, listen, you all can't afford to lose another brother.
Well, so treat you right.
But that hit me. I said,
Yeah.
I went from being the second oldest to being the oldest now, you know, and I was like, wow, so, and because I looked up to my brother, even though we didn't see each other that much. I love the fact that I can tell other people, I got an older brother. I got a big
Right.
brother, even into
Yeah.
adulthood, oh, my brother. Yeah. And to
Mm-hmm.
talk and recount his adventures, in the military, and, and all of that.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, wow. So as the youngest sibling, you're looking at the fact that my brother is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You still have your sisters,
Yes.
but it's something about you only have the one and only brother,
Oh, yeah.
and then also the circumstances surrounding his demise. That also plays a part in how we assimilate, the
Yes.
situation. Um, so surviving a silenced heartbeat. How did you come up with that title?
I didn't. The Lord gave it to me. Well, you know what? I will say this. When the Lord instructed me to write this book, I'm like, okay, I pushed against it. I'm like, write what? What you want me to write? And then when he told me what to write, I'm like, okay. I said, well, when I finally gave into it, I said, well, you're going to have to tell me everything. I said, Lord, you're going to have to give me every word from the first word to the last word. I said, and you're going to have to give me the title, even the chapter names, all of that. I was really totally depending on God for everything because Elder McGee, the type of person I am, and you know me, I'm not for show. I'm not for display. I'm not trying to be all of this and all of that. And I told the Lord, I said, if you want me to write, I want to make sure that what I write is going to help someone else. So then I sat down and I literally would write different titles out. And I said, okay, Lord, which one, And he wanted me to do surviving a silenced heartbeat, not silent, but one that has been silenced. Can't talk anymore for whatever reason. And heartbeat is not only limited to losing an individual physically. You could lose the heartbeat of your marriage. You can lose the heartbeat of a broken relationship or what have you. Because grief is not only relegated to losing somebody physically. Grief is a major loss in your life. That's what grief is attributed to. So he wanted me to make sure that this title would encompass all of that.
Awesome. I'm looking at those that are coming in. God bless you. We have Lenitris Richardson. God bless you. God bless you. Demetria Brand Triplet.
Yes, my
Rosalind
girl.
Dupree. God bless you. Tanil Jackson is watching. Thank you all for
Hey,
tuning
Tanil.
in. Thank you. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, watch out now.
Just read a passage, maybe a favorite, a portion of maybe one of your favorite
Rescue me from
passages,
myself.
because what you really have done, you opened yourself up, because like you said, I know you're a private person.
I'm
You
very
don't want
private.
everybody in your business. You're just private.
No.
But you opened yourself, and you made yourself transparent in this book.
I did.
So give us a little bit, those that don't have it, when you hear a portion of it, it ought to motivate you to want to know the full story.
Oh my God. Why did he put me on the spot like that? I sound like a anyway. I did. Did you mention Beatrice? I'm trying to buy myself some time. Did you
Beatrice,
mention
I see you
Beatrice?
now, Beatrice. Hey, Beatrice. Now, listen, those of you that want to call in and give a shout out to Annette, you can do so, 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. And she's going to find us a passage that she wants to read. Amen.
Well, I'll read this. This is actually in my it's actually in my dedication page. I'm not really getting into the actual book, but when I penned this last paragraph, I know it came from the Lord as well. I have here, this book is also dedicated to you, the reader. There are probably a few reasons why you have chosen to purchase and read this particular book, but we know that something drew you in. Death is inevitable, but it is not an easy subject to deal with or even discuss. I pray that the words of this book will grab you as you read with the intention of being healed. And when I wrote that particular, that was actually hard for me to write that paragraph. You want to know why? When I wrote the sentence, death is inevitable, the 15-year-old Annette wouldn't have never written that. I was always like afraid of it. I would always pray, when I was younger, Lord, keep my family. Don't let anybody die. I'm being transparent.
Mhm.
That was like my young prayer. I didn't want anybody around me that I was associated, affiliated with, or connected to, or whatever to die. I didn't. But then, of course, as you go on, you grow and you mature in life. You understand that it is inevitable. But again, knowing, of course, God has everything in control. Everything is in His hands. But experiencing death, and so many have experienced it. I literally started this book off with the intention on just focusing on young people because I was young at the time, but it expanded. And of course, we all know what's happened in the past 2 or 3 years. That was another thing. So many people had experienced death in their families due to COVID or what have you, due to violence, due to the civil unrest, but because we experienced that, because death happens, does not mean that we who remain, it does not mean that we cannot survive. We can. God left us here for a reason. So
That was deep, you know. And Tanil says, "Good afternoon. God bless my cousin who's watching." I had a chance to view Tanil Jackson's review of your book.
oh, that
That
girl
was
did an
awesome.
awesome
That
job.
was awesome. She was on the show a couple of weeks ago, but Tanil reviewed your book,
She had
and
me in tears.
she actually, it was like we were really watching all the events of the book. She painted a picture so powerful
hmm
that you literally could envision everything that was going on,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the kind of read that this is, it ought to evoke you, evoke your heartstrings. It ought to pull at your heartstrings. It ought to motivate you. Everyone has been talking about this movie this week. Was it on Netflix? Something from Scratch or something like that,
Yeah,
and how
from
all the
scratch.
tears. I'm like, I don't like tear jerkers, so I haven't even bothered looking at it yet, you know. But that's kind of what this book is like. It invokes tears,
Yeah.
but the tears then lead to strength.
Mm. Ooh, come on
The
now.
tears lead to strength. You know, it's like when you're here, when the tears are flowing from you,
Yeah.
the pain is draining from you.
Mm.
It's draining from you in the tears.
Mm.
And what is given to you is strength from God.
Yes.
So He's replacing your tears with strength.
Yeah.
It's all right to cry, but
Mhm.
allow God to replace the tears with strength. This is why He wipes away our tears.
Yes. You put on that bishop hat when you went there, man. Come on now.
I thank God because
Let's have some church. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
one of the hardest things that I had ever had to do in the realms of poetry was to take what you gave me. And the reason why I tell you why it was hard for me, normally I can knock something out. I actually had to really put some thought into this because you told me what you wanted, but I had to try to write it from the perspective of losing a sibling.
Yes.
So I had to draw in on my experience.
Okay.
Then I had to imagine, I had to put myself where you were at that time of the age of 15.
Wow.
I had to envision just getting the news. I had to envision you going to school and you really not being there, being around family, you really not being there, not tuned in. I had to envision all of that in order to pin that. And so I was like, wow, that you made me work on that
Well,
one.
let me tell you something. And if some of you don't know, oh my God, Elder McGee, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on his show, because I've said, something similar before. He can take that pen and just make magic or life come out of it. Whatever say to him, can you write about this? Can you write about that? Or give him a subject or whatever. But when I went to him at the beginning of this year, I think it was in February, it had to have been in February. And I literally had really just started with the book, but I didn't come to you to write that because of the book. I came to you to write this there's a poem in here, or spoken word. Look, I say spoken word. He always corrects me and says it's not a spoken word. But anyway, I asked him to pen, if he would take my words, because I literally wrote down some things for him to focus on. I said, can you take this and put it into poetry form for me? Because I was presenting at Black History Month in February. And I was asked to talk about my brother's death and how it affected my family. In 39 years, I had never been asked to do that. Why this year? You know what I'm saying? That's why I said God has everything, all in control, and he knows exactly what he's doing in the time framing. So I typically, if I'm asked to get up and do something at church, I'll sing my way out of it. Okay. Maybe I just told my secret. But anyway, but I said, Lord, no, I want to be able to put this down. So I started writing out my thoughts, and then immediately I felt led to contact you, and I did. And I sent you my thoughts, and you did a wonderful job. Now, again, I need to go back and reference how you just said that you were 15 the last time you saw your brother. You just said a few seconds ago you had to put yourself in my 15-year-old shoes to kind of get the feel and understand. You did an absolutely wonderful job. So as I'm writing this book, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in one of my writing sessions. I'm like, oh my God, okay, I hear you, Jesus. He said, start layering it throughout the book. Just layer it. Mm-hmm. And I said, wow. A heartbeat.
Like I said, it was a very humbling experience for me.
Yes.
Because again, where we differ, the last time I saw my brother alive was at the age of 15, but he was still alive until 2007.
Right.
You last saw your brother alive
at 15.
At 15.
Yep.
And that's it. So
the change, the switching. Whew.
So
I'm
writing
goosebumps. God, no, who, Lord Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In writing this, putting your experience in printed form, how hard was it just to get started? I mean, how do you start this? How do you put together the first sentence, the first paragraph, the first chapter?
Okay, I was literally on autopilot. And God was the pilot. Because when I literally, and I'm not ashamed to say, I was scared. I was like, what am I going to, how am I don't know what to write. I interview authors all day long, right? Throughout my 9 years of radio broadcasting, authors here, authors there. I have books, lined up in my house of different ones that I've interviewed, right? But I'm like, me? What, huh? Now, I do know about myself. If I sit down and I quiet myself, I can write my feelings. But writing a book, that was still something different. So I after I decided, okay, Lord, I'm going to do what you say and write this book. I'm praying, right? And I'm praying about it. I literally one morning went on to social media, and I saw an advertisement for a writing retreat workshop. Yeah. And I've had many publishers or whatever, like knocking down my email door, if you will, trying to ask me to write over the years. But some of them I know they were probably just trying to get you. Well, okay, we won't go that way. Anyway, and so when I saw this, I was drawn into the advertisement, and I said, and I knew the individual. So I said, okay, I've never ever seen this before. And I'm like, okay, I see how everything is lining up. Well, I reached out to her, and I said, is the writing workshop, is it still open? When is it cut off? She said, oh, you got a couple days, you can still I'm like, oh man, that means I really got to do it now. So so I said, okay. So I said, I'm gonna sign up for it. I'm gonna do it. And so I had to go that route because I did not know where to start. I really didn't. And so I became involved. Kristen Harris, Scribe Tribe Publishing, became involved with the Writing Retreat workshop. And I've had her on my show a number of times. She's come in here in Intellectual Radio as a guest. But I didn't realize that she was also a publisher as well. I don't know where I was when I was, I just didn't know. And everything just worked out. And she literally taught us how to write. She really did. Dump writing was one of the keys that she pounded that into us. Just start writing, dump writing. We're like, what's dump writing? Just start writing, just start writing. And I'm like, okay. And that's what I did. Every morning I had my morning devotion, talking to God. And I would sit in my office, have my little easy chair, and sit in my office, and I just start writing. And the words would just flow. And that's why I'm like, that's why I said I was on autopilot. I'm like, where is this coming from? Knowing it was coming from God, but still it was. So that's how it happened.
Now, in writing your book, because I know you had to go to your sisters, did you get any consultation? Did you say, okay, how does this sound? Or how about even when you pitched the idea to them of what you were going to do? Was there a meeting of the minds, or is the book basically on how you had to come to terms with this paralyzing reality, amen, of no longer having your brother in your life?
No one knew I was writing the book until it was published.
Really?
I did not consult with my sisters. The only person that knew, of course, was God and my husband. He was the only one that knew.
Awesome.
And I purposely did it that way because I wanted this to come from my own point of view. I didn't need the input from them. I didn't need the input from over here. I didn't need them. No, it didn't happen that way, such and such and such or whatever. It needed to come from Annette's point of view, from my eyes, because this was how it affected me. I wasn't trying to interview you and see how it affected you. I know it affected you in some kind of way, but this was what the Lord had instructed me to do. This was my mission. This was my truth. So no, I did not consult with them. I did not say, here, read over this or anything like that. I didn't do any of that. My publisher, of course, was the proofreader and all of that. And I didn't need all that extra. And see, again, I'm very private. I didn't need all of that in my ear, because I know me. Oh, really? Okay, let me change that. No, I needed it to be real and true and fresh for me. So they didn't know. Now how it affected everybody is different, but go ahead.
And that's where I was going to get ready to go. How did they, what was their thoughts when they found out, you told them, oh yeah, I got this book I just published. What did they say?
Well, I will say this, that when I told them I had already finished writing the book, it was in the process of being published when I told my family. And the Lord worked it all out, where we were actually went, we were all together, because we all don't live in the same state, but we were all together at one point, and I said, okay, Lord, I know I need to tell him. I need to tell him something. I need to let him know something. I'm like, okay, can you lay it out for me? When I tell you I was really laying and relying on the Lord for everything, I literally was. He's like, you again? Yeah, here I am, Jesus. Can you do?
You the little sister all over again, huh?
I'm so glad. I love me some Jesus. I really do, because he was just really patient with me, but he laid it all out. And so we were literally at dinner one, I think it was Sunday afternoon. And I said, okay, guys, I want to make an announcement. And I told them, and it was almost like one of those what's that movie Soul Food,
Mm-hmm.
where everybody gets a chance to tell something good that's happening. So once they're told that was coming out, everybody was like, oh, they were so glad and happy for me and everything. And it was like one by one, oh, I'm going to be doing this now and such and such and such, and it was beautiful. It was like it opened up the door for everyone to tell, the different things that they were working on, or things that was starting to happen. And I was like, wow, this is beautiful. I love this. So yeah.
So, I guess then the next stage in writing would be the screenplay or the play or something like that, because I'm telling you, in reading that, you have to be able to see it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother level. And I see that, every time I look on social media, you and your book are gaining momentum. It's like, that's all I see now on social media. You're on this, you're interviewing on this show, interviewing on Roku, interviewing over here, How has the support been during this whole thing? I know your sisters are behind you, your husband behind you, but as far as your community, how has that support been?
The support has been phenomenal. Y'all know I'm a crybaby anyway. I'm almost in tears, the feedback that I get, and then, some areas you don't think that you're going to get as much support as in other areas. And, I won't name out the area that I was surprised at, but I was surprised at one particular area where I was getting this support. I was like, oh, bless your heart. But I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for granted at all. Especially when individuals they pick up the book, they purchase the book, they read the book, and then giving that feedback, especially on Amazon, because as authors, we thrive off of those positive reviews. I'm not going to just say in a review, those positive reviews. So when I went and then what really, really blesses me as far as support is concerned is when they inbox me and they message me and they say, oh, I understood what you were saying here, and they get it. I'm like, okay, well, thank God my book wasn't ambiguous and they didn't understand what I was saying, but they get it. Even when we talked about Tennille already, that girl literally, that was probably the best book review I've ever heard. The way because it was like she stepped into my shoes.
She unpackaged the whole thing and pulled out everything.
And I was like, without giving, in a way though, she did an absolutely wonderful job. And so it is with individuals who have reached out to me. They've really, said how they've been blessed. So the support has been great. I've had people from, when I was growing up, the one young lady you mentioned about Roku, she has her own TV show. As soon as she saw that I was writing a book, she called me. She was like, oh my God, you have got to be my first guest on my TV show. She said, because she knew what happened, back, with my brother and how, he passed away. And one thing she said to me, she said, back then, she said, nobody really talked about it. We didn't really know what, we knew that he had died or whatever, but all the events surrounding and different things like that. And before I realized that she had picked up the Kindle version. I was going to send her a book because I was going to be on her show, but she picked up the Kindle version and she was just like enamored. She was just like so mesmerized with it. And so individuals are saying that they appreciate even me taking time out to share my own personal journey, to take them that route, first. And so I'm so glad that God orchestrated it all.
I this is actually lead into this question that I sent you, but I don't want to even ask that as a question because
Okay.
in talking with you, uh, it has been revealed that yes, you wrote this book as a way of telling of your experience, but even in knowing about the book and looking at my own, for instance, and looking at if others who were in similar situations read this book, it can be used as a counseling tool
Yes.
because many people don't have things to help them get through these situations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have people that you know how it is after the funeral. You know, everybody the chicken stopped coming and
Yeah.
all of this, and then the phone calls start coming,
Yeah.
and then you're left all alone,
Mm-hmm.
wondering how do I move on.
Yeah.
But now here we have a book to tell you how you can move on
Yeah.
from the perspective of a person who received this news 15 years ago, and now you're 50 plus. Uh-oh, did I say it right? Yeah, 50 plus.
55. Thank you. And
50,
alive.
55, you know, and how, and then, but in between all the things that you were able to accomplish, you know, you didn't allow the tragedy to paralyze you from living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Many times we're paralyzed from living.
Yeah.
That instant gives us permanent paralysis and we can't move forward. But here, your book talks about how you were able to, you had to learn how to cope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Coping is a learning thing.
Yeah.
You don't just wake up and say, okay, I'm coping now. You have to learn how to cope, you know, and then, you know, you talk about how this was a good lead into your career
Yeah.
as a psychologist,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, and so we really thank God for you. I want you to do something for me.
Uh-oh.
I want you to be, and I'm going to tell you why I'm going to do that after you do it. I want you to read the poem that I wrote because I want to, there's something that I want to unpackage and it's going to bless you.
Okay.
All right.
Ooh, this deep poem that this man of God wrote. I think I need my eyes. Do I need my eyes? Let's see.
I don't know. You're 55. You might need
I'm
your
I'm
eyes.
55, y'all. So sometimes I'm gonna have to get my eyes out.
Get your eyes out.
Get my eyes out. Give me a second, please. You want to talk?
Yeah. All right. So tell us, how can we get your book?
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited because you can actually go, of course, to the book's website at gcianet.com.
Let's get caught in the net, y'all.
Now, that's the book's website, not the Get Caught in the Net website, but gcianet.com. I'm also on, of course, Amazon. I am on Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, and Walmart. Woo-hoo.
You know you made it when you're in Walmart. Well, you can go to Walmart and get the book.
I am
And
so
what's the retail
frantic.
price for the book?
The retail price is $17.99.
And it's worth every bit of it. And the electronic version, the Kindle version is that eight? What was that?
Kindle version is about $89 or
89
something
bucks,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. My publisher messaged me and said, "Hey, did you know that you're on Walmart now?" I'm like, "Oh, I made it to the big time, Mama. Look at me." But okay. So here is the poem. It is entitled "Heartbeat." Oh, the sound of life. Yet sometimes the heartbeat can't be heard after life is gone. 39 years, and I still hear your heart beating as if it were only yesterday. The way we were as children, playing, going to school, going to church, living life. I hear the heartbeat. Living in a time where all we had were each other, sisters and one brother, a family of love that never failed. Even though we experienced a portion of our love language separating, no longer bound in wedlock, I could still hear the heartbeat. You see, love is a powerful thing. And when you are surrounded by so much of it, you can't help but be glad when you should be sad because you can still hear the heartbeat. Growing up wasn't always easy, but Mama taught us that our strength was bound up in the heartbeat. God, whose heart beats the greatest, gave us his greatest heartbeat. And that heartbeat made our hearts beat. And so we lived our young lives, enjoying the love that emanated from the heart. But what happens when that heartbeat goes silent? When that heartbeat can no longer be heard? When we're no longer sisters and one brother, but only sisters? That's when my heart stopped beating. That's when I became the walking dead, living but not living, trapped in grief, mad at heaven, the earth, and hell because someone stopped your heart from beating. Couldn't comprehend why this was allowed because not only did you die, but a part of all of us died. The connection was severed, and I couldn't hear the heartbeat. Blaming myself, wondering if I could have done something. Maybe I could have mimicked Joseph and told my dream, then it would not have become reality. And perhaps I could still hear the heartbeat. Grief told me I was guilty. And when I was at the point of giving in completely, I heard a heartbeat. I immediately thought it was my own, and I wondered how could my heart sound so loud? But I realized it wasn't mine. It was yours. You see, I allowed misery and grief to mute your heartbeat. I didn't understand that your heartbeat never stopped, but it was contained in every memory, every thought, every image of you. It was then that I was made whole, mind, body, and soul, because what I thought was lost was now found. God allowed me to hear your heartbeat so that I can help others to hear heartbeats. Those who are bound in misery and sadness, there are so many heartbeats yet to be heard. And even as I read this, I can't help but smile. I can't help but to look out in the audience and see you smiling back at me because right now I hear your heartbeat. Composed by Pastor Kevin McGee.
Now, I wanted you to read that because when I wrote that and I came down to that last stanza
Mm,
about how, well, not the last stanza, but closer to the end, about how it allowed you to hear other people's heartbeats.
yeah.
What you don't realize is that, you know, his heartbeat
Hmm.
was combined with your own
Yes.
and it became one heartbeat. So he became your motivating factor
Mm,
for everything that you've done since then. Get mind, body, and soul,
yeah.
A&D, because you already stated that the tragedy was the thing that was the catalyst for you going into psychology.
Yes.
That was the driving factor for where you are right now.
Hmm.
And so when you wrote the book, you wanted to know, the words were just coming from somewhere. It was the heartbeat.
Yeah.
The words were coming through. He was literally, your brother
Yep.
was literally translating or giving you the words. He was
Hmm.
helping you, the heartbeat.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was able to tap in and tune in on what you had given me,
I like that. Yeah.
because it was his heartbeat that was driving you.
Hmm.
And so I admonish everyone, get the book, Surviving a Silenced, not silent, silenced heartbeat. All right. Um, if you ever heard a heart monitor, do, 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 you don't want to ever hear it when it go flatline.
No.
You don't want to hear that. You know, that's a silenced heartbeat.
It is.
You
It
know,
is.
even if your loved one is gone,
Mm-hmm.
you ought to still be able to hear the heartbeat. All right.
I agree.
All right. God bless you. Anybody you want to give a shout out to as we get ready to?
A shout out to Susie and Jody. I'm just kidding. No.
Buffy and Jody.
Right.
My age now.
Right. A shout out to all of you that are watching. A shout out to those of you again that have purchased the book, that have supported. A shout out to my super duper producer, Earl Winfrey, who was the very first one to purchase a book. I inboxed him and said, "Hey, Earl, I wrote a book." He said, "Really?" And then boom, boom, a few minutes later, my Cash App. I was like, my God, I did, he did it so fast. But a shout out to him. And then a shout out to those, who were, you weren't hesitant, to purchase the book. And those who just wanted to support because you knew me. And then you got a little extra when you did, buy the book because you were able to relate to it. And a shout out to those who will purchase the book. Shout out to those who are giving positive reviews. I just thank God for all of you all, and your support has just been monumental and just great. And of course, another shout out to you again for this time and opportunity to come on your show, for writing the poem, for not giving me flap, and you
not asking for a check.
Oh, I think you still do. You still do ask for a check.
Only for your show. Not for that.
Oh, not for this. Okay. But I did, and I want to say this too. When I asked you to write the poem, we already established that I did not ask you to write it for the book. I asked you to write it for something else. But then when I sat down and the Lord was telling me to spread it throughout the book, I did reach out to Elder McGee and ask him, was it okay to do it? So I told
her, I said, it's yours.
Right. Wait, but I didn't tell, because I didn't want you to know I was even writing the book. I said to you, I said, you know what? No. I said, can I use your poem for something? And you said it was mine. So then later on, you found out that's what it was. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Well, we just thank God for you being a part. Listen, visit if you're in the Broadview area, visit Victory Temple every Sunday morning from 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. We're located at 2000 West Roosevelt Road in Broadview, Illinois, inside of the Community Presbyterian Church building. And meet us on Saturdays from 12 noon to 1 p.m. here on IntellectualRadio.com with Evangelist Earl Winfrey. Because let me say something, y'all got to go on Facebook, read his post, his testimony. Evangelist Earl Winfrey. Good day, everybody. See ya. Peace.
He got saved.